Source was talking to me last night about sovereignty. Before I went to bed, I was witnessing the roles that I was playing in this lifetime that I was coded to do through sacred geometry. And I could see the push-pull, the imbalance of these codes, the lack of sovereignty. And I started to realize that I was always stuck. And as I was sleeping, I was getting talked to by Source about sovereignty and how it is the human that eventually is the one to say no more. And I look back on my spiritual journey, which was over 35 years, many, many, many lifetimes. And I question it all now. I question what I was doing because really I was just looping. I was going in circles. I would create a reflection of a pattern, of a wound, and play it out over and over, and not only in this lifetime, but many lifetimes, playing out the same patterns. And I didn't understand that. And it makes me a little emotional because my human has tried so hard to get out, to fix the problem, which she thought was herself. She thought she was doing something wrong because she wasn't able to get out of the looping, that she kept creating the same things over and over. And last night, and I've been working on healing, moving through everything that is preventing my sovereignty. And I felt like I was doing that for decades, but really in the last probably year and a half, 2 years, it's really amped up. And I believe that's for the Ascension. And I've had to witness and move through everything. And I am emotional because it's been freaking hard. And my human is still feeling the tail end of that. And it's been difficult to step into the new when every single day, almost every single moment, you're moving through what isn't true, what isn't divine within you. And there's a lot. And we're not only moving through this lifetime, but we're the designated lifetime to bring in everything from all the other lifetimes to integrate through the physical body. And that is why many light workers develop physical symptoms. And I don't know how many of us are on that first wave of ascension. Not the Dolores Cannon waves, but the first wave of the ascension of the planet. And I was told this months ago, that there was waves coming. And then like once the first wave goes, everybody else will just start popping. It gets easier and easier. But I really don't think that there's many doing it because it is a full-time job and it is not for the faint of heart. It's very, difficult to remain still, connected, in remembrance of the light of consciousness, while you have emotions running through your body, through your heart center, thoughts in your brain, conflicting the divinity with all its might. And I had a spiritual teacher once say that if you see someone who has it all together, they are not doing this path. Not the first wave, I don't think. So if you are having trouble, I know that if you're doing what I'm doing, that you also have a deep connection to your inner divinity. But I want to tell you that I do believe that eventually we get to the point where the human, and this is what I realized last night, the human has to say no more. No more circles. No more sacred geometry coding to fix the lineage, to hold others, to hold humanity. Eventually, she says, no more, I choose my sovereignty. And that's what I got to last night. And before I went to bed, and then in my dreams, Source was talking to me about sovereignty. And that is necessary. And looking back on my many, many decades, I wouldn't have known, and maybe it wasn't time, maybe the human mind wasn't ready to comprehend that even though the human is connected to the soul, to the oversoul, to consciousness, I was blindly going along with the plan. I said, this is the way it should be. There's a purpose. It's my destiny. It's meant to be. Like my human had all these excuses for why she should continue to go in circles. But I do feel like those on the first wave, and if you haven't got there yet, maybe you have, let me know in the comments if you have got there. But I do feel like eventually on this wave, there is the foot going down and you're saying no more, because as the last year and a half, 2 years has gone on, I've been able to see and witness all of those patterns that I've been carrying and what I was coded to do. And it was never mine. It was never yours to hold. And that's really hard for the human to comprehend. And I do think that, I had it out with my soul many times in the last few months. But I do think that the soul is also wrapping up its part. And then that is trickling down into the human, which we're one and the same, we're all the same pieces, right? But the human, I didn't know how much power she had. Like I said, I was going blindly along and losing my mind, going in circles. But I do think that there's that time where the foot goes down and the human mind understands, and we have enough connection to consciousness to know that we are sovereign. We have a choice. And when the human says no more, the human says, I will not carry these burdens for other people anymore. I'm going to put them down. I choose my own sovereign story. That is where we need to get. And then from this point, we can create with source without any of those patterns in the way, any of the loops, which really, I don't believe we could have even have created well in those loops anything that was going to satisfy the human, because it was all the same thing. So I just wanted to share my story of no more. Because we do create our reality, don't we? And for whatever reason, we created loops, and my human is still trying to grapple with why. I have some ideas I've been told in knowingnesses, but it doesn't appease the human who had to go in the circles and feel the pain over and over. And I do think that's part of it. The human has to tell the soul enough. What about me? Like, even though this reality doesn't exist, so to speak, the human is still perceiving it to be so. And does that not need to be taken into consideration? My human thought it should be. So she told her soul that. And maybe that is the point. Because I do think that the soul is the masculine part of consciousness, and the human, the creative part, is the feminine. And I do think that those two pieces have to come into wholeness. And I said to my soul, I will not do this anymore unless we walk side by side, not you in front of me. And that is what was happening. I felt like a puppet going in those circles. But again, I am all of it. So I did choose it too, but I still think there's a purpose to the human having her say. So maybe say your piece to your soul and choose your sovereignty. Together we rise.